The next method is the update type. What we're going to do is remove everything from within this method and simply return it with, replace it with return this underscore db update, and we pass in the first parameter is going to be table name, which is the table 2 because it's a type, and then params, and lastly what record ID we're looking at. Okay, then set table default, same situation. Let's remove everything, and we're going to start if empty ID return false, and that's all we're going to return if it's empty. Then try and catch statement. Inside of the catch, we catch in PDO exception represented by E variable, and then I will simply use this underscore db rollback and then return false. We're obviously rolling back the changes because we are going to be using the transaction here again. First, local variable, which equals empty local. If it's empty, we want this to be null, otherwise it's going to be 1. So whatever value, if someone wants to temper the value, obviously whatever they're going to put, it's only ever going to be 0 or 1, because we basically checking here. If it's empty, make sure that it's 0. If it isn't empty, make sure that it's 1. That's all. Okay, so now we're going to start this underscore db, and we go for the begin transaction. After this begin transaction, the first SQL statement, which will be update this underscore table 2. We're going for set default value to question mark, where local equals question mark, and ID does not equal question mark, which is basically, now have a look at what parameters I'm passing to this method. This underscore db, and we're going for the execute transaction this time. We're passing this SQL statement and an array of values associated with these placeholders. The first value will be null, which is for default. We want to set the default field to 0. Then local is simply whatever we've managed to get through the parameter, and then obviously we're making sure that the value is either 0 or 1, so that's the only value that can be passed in. And then the ID is not equal the ID of the record we're passing through as the parameter. If I now copy this SQL statement, paste it under our execute transaction, what I'm going to change here is, rather than does not equal question mark, I'm removing this exclamation mark, because now I want to find the record that is actually equal the ID we're passing through. And I'm going to use this execute transaction as well and paste it underneath. Now what I'm going to change is the first value I'm going to change to 1, because I want to set this record with this ID to default, basically by making it the default column equal 1. Once we've got both of these execute transactions done, then we simply use this underscore db commit to make sure that they are executed, and then return true. And that's all inside of our set default method.